Storm chances ramping up. All-time out our risk to see severe weather, plus a preview of what to expect on our July 4th weekend.
Coverage cuts. The president's so-called Big Beautiful bill could have heavy impacts in the state of North Carolina, including for hundreds of thousands newly on Medicaid.
2 homes damaged after a massive fire. We speak with people inside as it happened and are learning more about what may have sparked it.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
We begin with breaking news here at 7 o'clock. A 5-year-old was shot on US 1 in Cary. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. What an awful story here. We know the road is blocked off by police. We have our reporters there at the scene. WRAL's Eric Miller is live with what we've been able to learn here, Eric.
Dan, awful is exactly the right word here in this situation. We're standing on Southeast Cary Parkway over those lanes of US 1 northbound where all of this happened. You can see multiple Cary police vehicles, those 2 right lanes as you're headed towards Raleigh, currently shut down. And there on the right side of the road, that dark gray or silver F-150. Cary police haven't confirmed that this is the vehicle that 5-year-old was in, but radio traffic does identify the victim as having been in a silver F-150. I want to send you up to Sky 5 now, give you a better sense of the size, the scope, the scale of this scene. Cary police say all of this happened right after 6 this afternoon. So far, they haven't said anything more about the circumstances, what exactly led up to this, or if they have any suspects at this time. Still, this investigation now having a major impact on rush hour traffic for this evening. Cars backed up for miles and miles and miles in those northbound lanes. WRAL's Brian Schrader is in the WRAL Live Center right now tracking the traffic impact and the best ways for you to get around this active investigation. Brian.
Indeed, all of this happening right here at the end of the evening commute as we take a look at those live pictures from Sky 5. We have 2 of the 4 lanes blocked there on US 1 northbound at Cary Parkway. The 2 right lanes are blocked. Cary police also have blocked the ramps from Cary Parkway onto US 1 northbound, and you can see the delays there with all of that traffic down to just 1 lane. Backups begin around the Tryon Road 64 interchange and extend all the way up to Cary Parkway. Of course, with a serious investigation like this, it may be a while before Cary police are able to reopen all of those lanes.
Well, we sure hope that child is going to be okay. Thank you, Brian. Switching gears now, you may have been dodging some showers this evening. The big time to watch is actually tomorrow, though.
We will have a chance of some storms that could bring damaging wind gusts, maybe some localized flooding. And it's going to be after the evening commute. Meteorologist Kat Campbell is in the WRAL Severe Live Center with what we should be watching out for, Kat.
It was just a couple of spotty showers and storms that we've dealt with throughout the day today. Tomorrow, the radar should be a bit more colorful, and then even more colorful Wednesday. So we'll kind of ease into storm chances this week. For now, things have actually quieted down. The storms are having a tough time sustaining themselves. They kind of bubble up and then they rain themselves out. Tomorrow, with the cold front approaching from the west, they'll be a bit more organized. There's a level 1 threat for severe storms due to the concern for damaging wind gusts for most of our area, especially west of I-95. Heavy rain also possible. A level 2 threat up toward Washington, D.C. tomorrow. Here's the system. It's this approaching cold front tapping into the summer heat again tomorrow, and that'll energize some of those storm cells. We'll see storm chances really ramp up later in the day. The storms first arrive in the mountains tomorrow. Some of those storms could linger into tomorrow night, and it's still nearby Wednesday. I'm tracking the arrival and departure of rain chances coming up on Futurecast.
All right, with storms expected ahead of this 4th of July weekend, remember you can stay on top of the forecast with the newly redesigned WRAL weather app. It is free to download and use. Make sure to turn on those push notifications so you can get important weather alerts sent right to your phone.
Hundreds of thousands of people are at risk of losing their health care coverage in North Carolina. That includes nearly 50,000 people here in Wake County. Less than 2 years ago, the state passed an expansion to Medicaid, giving low-income families access to health care. Access that is now in jeopardy. WRAL's Sean Gallagher shows us how decisions in D.C. could impact here.
For the last 18 months, more North Carolinians have been able to go into primary care facilities like this for their health care needs. But soon, they may be locked out if these proposed budget cuts go through. A short-lived celebration in the Tar Heel state. Expanded Medicaid coverage is on the brink of being eliminated.
But I'm telling the president that you have been misinformed. You supporting the Senate mark will hurt people who are eligible and qualified for Medicaid.
Senator Tom Tillis fears how devastating this could be to the people of North Carolina. In 2023, the law raised the salary threshold for eligible families from nearly $25,000 to nearly $37,000 for a family of three, allowing hundreds of thousands of people to get health care.
All right. So what do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years? When President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's not there.
Well, he is just wrong.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt shot down Tillis's concerns Monday.
And that will therefore strengthen and protect those benefits for Americans who need it, as well as cutting out the waste, fraud, and abuse.
This is a cut to North Carolina's Medicaid program, and it's not just waste, fraud, and abuse.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association says the expanded Medicaid benefits over the last 18 months are already showing positive trends. As one example, he says emergency room overdose visits are down 29% and OD deaths down by a similar number. One of many areas he's concerned about if funding changes.
And there's no way you can sugarcoat it. If this goes into effect, it will be a cut of $38 billion over a 10-year period for North Carolina's Medicaid program. And that's not waste, fraud, and abuse. That's direct services to the people of North Carolina that will be in danger if the Senate version of House Bill 1 holds up.
Dobson tells me the NC Healthcare Association is advocating for the House bill because it would essentially freeze Medicaid as we know it. He says it's not perfect, but some 660,000 people wouldn't have to go elsewhere for health care coverage. In downtown Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
State lawmakers could change the law so Medicaid expansion in North Carolina won't be threatened by Trump's budget. State GOP leaders have resisted calls to do that so far. We've reached out to GOP legislative leaders, but have not yet heard back. Now, you heard in that reporting there, Senator Tom Tillis speak passionately about Medicaid before announcing he won't be seeking re-election. Coming up later here at 7 o'clock, we look at what's next for his Senate seat and who's eyeing it.
Hey, let's get you caught up on some of the other things happening tonight. These are the 5 things you should know right now. 2 people are in custody following a law enforcement chase in Wake County. One of the suspects is a teenager. The Wake County Sheriff's Office says it got started on Pleasant Garden Lane in Raleigh when a woman deputies were trying to serve warrants to got into a car. The juvenile driver then led deputies on a chase to I-40 right near Airport Boulevard. The driver and the passenger, as you see in this video, both taken into custody. 2 Johnston County Sheriff's deputies will not face criminal charges for shooting a man during a mental health crisis. The Johnston County District Attorney said that the use of force was justified because the deputies acted in self-defense. This played out in February after a suicide call to Anthony Collins' home in Clayton. The report released today says Collins threatened to shoot the 2 deputies and reached for his gun. That's when deputies shot Collins multiple times. He survived the shooting. One of the men accused of killing a Wake County Sheriff's deputy pleaded guilty to a federal charge. Alder Maureen Sotelo and his brother Arturo are accused of killing Deputy Ned Byrd during a traffic stop in 2022. A plea agreement dated last week says that Alder Maureen Sotelo pleaded guilty to conspiracy to assist or instigate escape. This is a separate charge from the state murder charges and the death of Ned Byrd. He will be sentenced, they say, in the coming weeks. Though prosecutors took the death penalty off the table for the brothers, they are still facing murder charges. Starting tomorrow, you will be paying more when you use rideshare companies. There's a new state tax. It will be applied to all rides booked through services like Uber and Lyft. It's called the Transportation Commerce Tax. The money will be used to pay for road and bridge maintenance. The tax will be 1.5% for solo rides, 1% for shared rides. A Raleigh woman is recovering after she says a venomous copperhead snake bit her. Lisa Austin says it happened while letting her dogs out into the yard on Friday. Before going to the ER, the 76-year-old says she killed the snake with a gardening tool to keep it from biting her pets. She is expected to recover. NC wildlife officials say copperheads account for over 90% of the venomous snake bites here in North Carolina. Well, we're talking flooding and furniture and Murph's turf. It's Monday, so we're going to dig into the mailbag. Stick around. That's next.
Back here in the WRAL Live Center with an update to this breaking news we are following in Cary. A 5-year-old shot while inside a vehicle on US 1. This is a live look from Sky 5 of that scene. Cary police have a couple of lanes blocked there on US 1 northbound right at the Cary Parkway interchange. This all happened only about an hour ago. We know that child has been taken to the hospital. We have no update on their condition right now. Also, no word on any suspects. Eric Miller is at the scene, and he'll be following this through the evening here on WRAL News.
Yep, we'll want to keep updated on that. Thank you. A year and a half ago, North Carolina expanded Medicaid. And in the first year, more than 600,000 North Carolinians enrolled in it. We talked about it a lot here on WRAL News. Now Medicaid in North Carolina is back in the news because, as Sean Gallagher pointed out to us earlier in the broadcast, Senator Thom Tillis opposed President Trump's tax bill because of the Medicaid changes in it, and then announced he isn't running for re-election. Late last night on Capitol Hill, Tillis told reporters he had texted the president that he may need to start looking for someone to replace him in the Senate. And Trump seems eager to do that. He posted he's going to be meeting people who want to run. And he's not letting Tillis off the hook for this either. Posting yesterday, Thom Tillis has hurt the great people of North Carolina. Even on the catastrophic flooding, nothing was done to help until I took office. Tillis has been critical of the bill, saying it is going to push more than 600,000 people off of Medicaid. He thinks Trump is getting bad advice. Listen to this.
I believe that it's going to be a massive mistake. And sooner or later, you got to help the president understand that he's gotten a lot of advice from people who have never governed, and all they've done is written white papers.
A massive mistake. By the way, the other U.S. Senator for North Carolina, Ted Budd, did vote in favor of the bill. So where do we go from here? Democrats are now champing at the bit. They want to flip the Senate, and getting a seat in North Carolina would get them one step closer to doing that. But the last time the state elected a Democrat to the U.S. Senate was back in 2008. So let's break down who's vying for the seat and who's being talked about, who's being floated. Probably the biggest name being floated on the Republican side. NBC News reporting Lara Trump, the president's daughter-in-law, and from North Carolina, by the way, is considering a potential bid. We also know businessman Andy Nilsen and former congressional candidate Don Brown are both running to be the Republican candidate. On the Democratic side, former U.S. Representative Wiley Nickel announced the launch of his campaign back in April. But you know, Nickel will have his work cut out for him if former Democratic Governor Roy Cooper throws his hat in the ring. Cooper isn't expected to make his decision on that for at least a couple of weeks. It could even be months. This race is poised to have huge money powering it. Both Republicans and Democrats have a lot at stake here and a lot to prove. An open seat leaves a lot to the imagination for both parties. Tillis won his last election in 2020 despite getting under 50% of the vote. So you know that Republicans will not be taking this seat for granted, and neither will Democrats, who are hoping to pull off something they haven't done in nearly 2 decades. I know there's a lot more to this. There are a lot of layers here, so we're going to keep on it for you and keep talking about it here at 7 o'clock.
It is Monday. That means mailbag. Today we're talking about flooding and furniture. There was a viewer named Kay. We should start here. She wrote in and said, "We enjoy the 7 p.m. broadcast, but your nervous energy causes confusion." I'm not nervous. Neurotic maybe, but I'll slow down a bit for you, Kay. I just get a little excited. It's because I love this newscast so very much, and I think the viewers here at 7 o'clock are just the best, and this is an example as to why. We've had some big weather and flooding recently. That's just part of being here in North Carolina this time of year. A viewer named Adam reminded us about the Feynman map. So these are sensors, and this is a map here. It shows all the flood sensors set up across the state. The town of Cary, for instance, installed a bunch of these back in 2016, and when the water levels rise or fall, these sensors detect that. When we reported about all of this last week, I got another email from another viewer named Chris, and he said, if there are gauges in your area, you can subscribe to get notifications. I live in Moncure and have warnings set on both the Haw and Deep rivers. And he's right. He's exactly right. This is a great tool. All you have to do is Google Feynman, create an account, register for the alerts on the sensors that are most important to you in your area, and it's completely free. And it could be really important information for you. But this is why we do this mailbag. All of that coverage came from the curiosity and the knowledge of our viewers at home who are deciding to weigh in. So thank you to both of you. A great 7 p.m. contributor is Paul Spey. Last week, we talked about a strange budget request from the new Lieutenant Governor Rachel Hunt, who realized that former Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson took all the furniture from the mansion when he left, and she shared these pictures of empty rooms. I love this line from Paul's article. Her term had started more like an episode of Scooby-Doo. Who took the furniture from the creaky mansion on Blunt Street? But the culprit wasn't hiding behind the drapes in this mystery, because the drapes were gone too. A viewer named Robert asked if the state previously purchased the furniture for the previous lieutenant governor, what allowed him to take that furniture if it was purchased and owned by the state? That's a great question. This is kind of a confusing story, but it's not that difficult to understand once you kind of lay it out and take a look at the timeline. It started with Lieutenant Governor Dan Forrest, who hated the furniture when he first moved in. He couldn't stand it, so he put it all down in the basement, got rid of all the old damaged pieces, and he raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in private donations to get new stuff. One of his big goals actually was to renovate that historic property, something he's quite proud of. But then when Mark Robinson took over for him, he didn't like Forrest furniture. So he moved that stuff down into the basement, and he used new furniture from a private donation, giving things to Mark Robinson. And since Robinson and the new Lieutenant Governor, Rachel Hunt, don't really get along that well, he says that she never touched base with him during the transition and didn't know that the furniture was leaving when he did. And when she finally realized what had happened and found all of Dan Forrest's old furniture down in the basement, it was gross. So she wants the state now to buy new furniture that will stay when she leaves, instead of continuing this parade of private donations and inevitable waste. Thanks to everybody for emailing in. Keep it up. Please keep these emails coming. Dan at WRAL.com. Tell me what is on your mind, and we'll go in depth.
So much to talk about with the Lieutenant Governor's furniture. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Kat Campbell as we hope for maybe a little drop in the dewy feel out there.
You know, we got a drop in temperatures, a little bit of a drop in humidity coming this week. Some good news to report there. 87 Wednesday, out of the 90s potentially. Finally, this would be the coolest day since June 5th. That is going to come with better chances for showers and storms. But behind that system, that's when the humidity may dip a little bit. Still going to be humid Wednesday. 92 outside right now, the heat index 95, 89 in Fayetteville with a heat index of 97. It's amazing how accustomed to the heat we become. Last week, we would have been begging for numbers like this. Definitely still hot out there today. A beautiful day. Lake Gaston, you can see a boat in the distance about to pull up on the dock. A nice day today, just a couple of showers and storms that we've been tracking earlier, and those were mainly along the North Carolina-Virginia border. Nothing menacing in the near term. We'll watch for just a small 20% chance of a storm for the remainder of the evening and tonight. Here comes our next front, though, and this will bring a better chance for showers and storms tomorrow into Wednesday. It's actually looking like the more widespread coverage of storms may hold off until Wednesday with this approaching front. But there is a level 1 severe threat tomorrow. This version of Futurecast that I'm going to show you, I think, is overdone in coverage, but the timing is good. So pay more attention to the timing than how many storms there are. At noon tomorrow, still pretty quiet, but we start to see storms during the afternoon. These will be pretty scattered, but a better chance for storms comes tomorrow evening and into tomorrow night. That's because this front is closer to us.
Our one last thing tonight is standing next to me. Here she is.
Wow, I get a whole topic.
She's back. Ashley Rowe has returned. This is exciting for us here at 7 o'clock.
It feels good to be back. I missed you. Yeah, truly. Been busy. Had my hands full, literally. Here is baby Zoe. Welcomed her into the world in April, and it's been a whirlwind. You know, it's amazing how quickly 3 months can go. The days, you don't do a whole lot. You're holding the baby, and that's about it. But boy, time flies really quickly. Here is big sis Phoebe as well. We are just thrilled. Our family just feels complete, and
Then let's mention husband Dan also. You know what I mean? Because I feel like he's not getting any love. We
got lots of love for Dan. Yeah. This is the real life, though. You just saw some pictures from professional photos. Sarah Joanne Photography did a great job, but this is what it's really like. Yeah. Just trying to do everything everything with one hand while the other hand is holding the baby. But it's been wonderful to have Zoe in our lives, and it's nice to be back as well.
I know, it's exciting to have you back here. We did miss you while you were gone. We were excited that your family is growing and that everybody's doing so great. But you saw, we had one little segment from you tonight. We're going to keep doing that kind of journalism here at 7 o'clock.
Got it.
Keep letting us know. Send us those emails, and we'll keep doing our thing. What do you say?
You got it. Thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock. We'll see you soon.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.